Welcome in, welcome in. If you're here for 5 a.m. Universus, you are in the right place. All right, this is always a little funny because this is the first time that I've used my voice all morning, and I just jumped straight into it with this. But today we've got a lot going on. Oh, I have to mute myself watching the stream. Okay, today I have our top 50. I do this at the start of every major set. I just re-rank my top 50 characters in the game. I don't spend the time to rank every single one of our 100 plus characters. That would take too long. And I think most characters are all lumped into this tier where you could play them at locals and have fun, but they're probably not going to be winning any major events. And most characters aren't so much better or worse than one another as we might think. They're pretty evenly matched. There's always those select few, those like top 10, top 20 that truly separate themselves from the rest of the pack, and that's what I want to go over here today. After that, I've got a little bit about Critical Role. I'll be jumping in and grading every single card in these decks, talking about whether these are worth the price, whether you should go to your local game store and buy a Critical Role deck, and how competitive are these decks really. All right, let me think about where to begin here, or if I should take some time and just wait for everybody to pop in. Maybe I should just talk about the news for a little bit while I wait for a few people to jump in. Let's bring this over here. We had, where's the news from yesterday? Right here, Godzilla coming out June 21st, and they showed off the characters. We're going to get Godzilla and Mothra in one deck, King Ghidorah and Rodan in the other deck, and then both are going to come with a bonus character, Mechagodzilla Kiryu, Mechagodzilla Bionic Menace. So these are coming with 3 characters each instead of the usual 2. Of course, there's going to be 2 that you can basically play with, and then I imagine like in a promo pack, you get the bonus Mechagodzilla character. And then they showed us off these characters. These characters are nuts. These are, in my opinion, the coolest designed characters we've gotten in a long, long time. King Ghidorah, basically you have to kill him 3 times. He's this 3-headed dragon thing. I've never really watched King Ghidorah, but I know that this card looks epic. You put 3 counters on your character. Whenever he's killed, you remove a counter, and then he goes back up to 10 health. And then when he's out of counters, he just loses the game. So he doesn't regenerate that last time. In my opinion, this would have been more clear if they just said give him 2 counters, and then it would be like 2 bonus lives. But I think they wanted the flavor win of having 3 counters, and maybe saying that you never really beat him, right? He just flees or retreats or something like that. And then he can commit, remove a card from his hand, choose something from his discard pile, and play it that turn. It doesn't say you have to play it this attack. It just says sometime this turn you have to play it. And then you have Godzilla bringing in this like board wipe mechanic. This once per game first form, commit, discard 4 cards, destroy all foundations, only playable if there's 10 or more foundations in all stages combined. So you can't just do this turn 2 if you can't do this turn 1 if you're going second. You can't just say, oh, you built 6, that's very interesting, let's I go first. You can't do that. You have to wait until there's 10 or more foundations. Pretty much that's going to be online on turn 2 a good chunk of the time, but you just can't do it your turn 1 going second. And then it says your attacks with a printed difficulty of 5 or greater get 3 damage. That's just a static. And then you can spend a momentum. Your next check to play an attack or block gets +2. So you basically get, what was that set 1 card? Cool Student. You get Cool Student on face. That's really, really cool. If you have, notice the first form does not wipe out assets. So Tim Keefe pointed out in another Discord that you could have Battle Arena in your stage, wipe out all of your foundations. Battle Arena says your check to play an attack is +2. You could play an Echo attack, pass it, echo it. Even if you check a 3, you can use Battle Arena, And then from there, maybe if you check 2 5s, you can play another attack. So there's a chance that with those 2 cards in hand, you can actually get a few attacks in while your rival has no stage to deal with. Most of the time, I imagine with Godzilla, you're using that first form just to build 2 foundations pass. Your rival probably can't attack into you with no foundations, and then it's like you got to go first that game, although with a bad build. So you can use it if your opponent's like speeding ahead of you, or you can use it for like, you could also use like Enormous Axe, that foundation that says when it's destroyed, build one. There's ways around this to where you could attack that turn and use it as a chance to attack your rival unabated. There's something around there. King Ghidorah to me though is where it's at. This guy puts all of these evil attacks. Hey, good morning. Good morning in the chat. This guy puts all of your evil attacks online that say if you're at less than 10 health. So unmatched quickness, everything's getting +1 speed or -1 speed. Dissolving the conflict is always online. This guy's going to be really good with like Airy on the evil symbol, to where he says, nope, I'll just take that down to 1 damage. As long as he has momentum, now it's with Airy, it's like you have to kill him 6 times if he got Airy out every single time. He's going to be really good with all of these evil attacks that say if it was played from any zone other than your hand. He is going to be able to play the true 100% unleashed that says if you're at less than 10 health, if you make a check to block with this attack, that check passes. He could use that on defense and block with it every single time using his enhance. This enhance does not have to be used on offense. It can be used on defense too. And then he's saying, yeah, I'll just block with this free block in my discard. There are so many things going on here. I think both of these are really, really cool designs. So kudos to the design team. Also, just check out the art on these guys. This is pretty cool, but the real art pops off here. These alt arts go so freaking hard. These are going to be worth so much money. Not just because there are going to be Godzilla collectors who don't play the game looking to get these cards. Just to collect Godzilla. But also the just the designs here. I love when they take your hand size and health size and make them black and white. Those are going to be very sought after. And then we got Star Trek Lower Decks. I've never watched it. Seems pretty cool. Maybe I will watch it before they come out, but I'm all on board with that. We got something here with like Star Trek Realms, this like deck building game. That my interest here with Star Trek Realms is they say they're planning it this year, but this is saying we're getting 4 challenger decks for Star Trek Lower Decks. Let me see where it says that. Why can't I find it? Something in here said, no, I can't find it anymore. But we're getting Star Trek Lower Decks, and then we're getting another Star Trek product this year, Star Trek Realms. And it's going to be, it's like this deck building game. But what interests me here is it says, while this is the first franchise collaboration for Star Realms, it will be fully compatible with other Star Realms games and expansions. Star Trek Star Realms is a 2 to 4 player game featuring star trips from Star Trek The Next Generation, will be available in Q3 this year. So it's going to be like the expansion pack for Star Realms, and it's going to both be playable in Star Realms and playable in Universus. I'm really interested how that collaboration works and if it's actually really, really seamless. And then we're getting Tekken 8. I've never played this. Seems like a very popular fighting game that just had another installment this year. That's neat. I'll be buying both of these products, even though I know nothing about their licenses. I've watched a few Star Trek movies. My dad used to watch a lot of Star Trek shows and old Star Trek movies. I can't say that I ever took too much interest in it. Star Wars was really the thing for me growing up. Was the Star Wars prequels, although I just rewatched those with my 6-year-old son the other day, and I'm realizing that those were not as good as I remembered them being. To me, growing up, the Star Wars prequels were like incredible. Still pretty good. I mean, it fundamentally has a good story, which is something Star Wars episodes 7 through 9 cannot say. They completely lost their way. Okay, can't wait to play Ghidorah with Dragon of the Darkness Flame. Yeah, that's going to be a fun one. The 2-check, go and grab it. It's always online. Discard 3 cards from your hand, and it right away you're getting it to 16 damage. He's one of the only people that can actually turn that card on turn 2. Is it worth it? I'm kind of leaning the monstrous fusion route to get the powerful 5, and that it's going to be, if you have a few unmatched quicknesses out, it's 8 speed on face. You have a few of those, now it's 10 speed. I don't know. You can kind of take your pick there. Do you want the 6 diff or do you want the 2 check? And then the 6 diff also takes a little more setup time. It is cool that the 2 check, you can just do it right away. So these are these coming out. I am very, very excited for Godzilla and King Ghidorah. I think King Ghidorah is a top 10 character in the game. He can get sealed, which is funny. If somebody's using like Hero's Upbringing or Chronostasis Trigger and they seal your character, then he only has that 1 life. Just play around it, right? Have some like Koenma's Task to cancel actions, some Team Dr. Ichigaki to have a cancel on stage. Like, you'll have to play around it, or just block the trigger. It's only if it deals damage. Just block it. There's ways around it. He's such a good character that I'm okay with him having a big funny weakness. Typically monsters in games and shows, they look all scary, but then they have like one glaring weakness that the hero that they're trying to guard, and the hero, typically their belly. I'm just thinking of like every Legend of Zelda game I've ever played against a big boss match. So that kind of fits with the theme to have some silly weakness here. But I think Godzilla is probably very good. I think King Ghidorah is top 10 in the game. I feel pretty confident in saying that right away. But that is going to do it for our intro here. How much time do I have? It's 5:42. Okay, I got 1 hour. I'm going to give my snap grades for all the Critical Role decks, and I'm going to be talking about my top 50 characters. Okay, I have my notes where I already have my top 50 all here, and I took a picture of it. But it'll just look like on here that I'm just thinking of it on the spot. Let's see. Let me put this up somewhere. By the way, you guys like the shells? My wife put those up this weekend. So I'm trying to think of stuff to go on it, because right now they're like 75% empty. If anybody wants me to put something on there, send it to me and I'll put it up. I'm thinking I need some like figures, some more books of some kind. I just put up the manga that I had. I was trying to learn Japanese for like a year. Well, 3 months really seriously, where I was studying like 3-4 hours a day. And then after that went down to like just like 1 hour a day. And then I took up this card game, and I have no extra time, any hobby time in my life other than Universus. And so I stopped learning Japanese. But I've got like a lot of like basic Japanese manga, because I was trying to like Yotsubato. I was reading it and trying to learn the language. But anyway, here we go. Top 50 characters in Universus after the release of Yu Yu Hakusho and the rotation of My Hero Academia Set 1 out of the format. We have had a lot of changes. We are coming up into our Wish tournament, and then the first webcam regional is the week after the Wish tournament. So we're going to see all of these characters put to the test, and how everybody has updated their previous characters with the Yu Yu Hakusho cards. I've got 5 tiers here: regional champions, regional contenders, frequent top cut, occasional top cut, local champions. In the past, I've always done 10 characters in each of the tiers, just to have it be an even top 50. I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to go 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. That'll still equal 50, but it's more in line with my beliefs, where I truly think there's only like 6 characters up here in the regional champions box, and 8 characters in the regional contenders. That's 14 combined. that I truly think have a chance at winning the webcam regional. I don't think I could fit more into there without making a stretch, you know. And I don't want to make too big of stretches here. I want most of my takes to be grounded in reality. And I think we have a lot of characters where you could take them to your locals with the New Yu Hakusho cards and they could take down your locals. Maybe you could win a local qualifier with them. But if you take them to the webcam regional or you take them to the major regional in Las Vegas, you're probably not going to truly be in contention. All the other characters I think fit into this huge pool of like, they're fine. If you like them, you can play them at locals and do well. But at regionals, you should probably be picking a different character that has more of a realistic shot at winning it. All right, let's kick it off with our, where do we want to start? Do we want to start from the bottom with local champions, or do we want to start from the top with regional champions? I think I'll start from the top because there's probably a little less spicy takes here. We all kind of know the characters that are going to be your regional champions. I'll kick it off right away with Mirio. I think Mirio got a lot better with Momotaro's kit. If you're playing 6-hand size aggro deck, this character is the best in the format. I don't think there's a question. Basically, this is Phantom Threat. Phantom Threat gets 5 speed. You know, it's going to be like a 9 low, 15 opener that clears itself to momentum. There is no better aggro opening attack than Phantom Threat. It's going to clear itself so that you can attack more on turn 2, turn 3 without having a clogged card pool. It's going to get super fast to force your rival to use up their defenses very early in your attack string. Either they'll have to use their reset or they'll have to commit down their Strage early. He will always be, until something is done with Phantom Threat, I think he will be the best 6-hand size aggro character. Now he got to pair it with Armor of the Wolf, which feeds into Phantom Threat, saying +1 damage from the momentum. Then Phantom Threat gets to respond for +1 speed. You can use Steaming Sphere, first quirk activation, to get your Armor of the Wolves in your momentum very quickly. Phantom Threat clears itself from the card pool, going to momentum. Armor of the Wolf has Powerful 3 and EX3, so Phantom Threat feeds into Armor of the Wolf. There's a lot of synergies here. We have a lot of ways to cheat momentum right now. Mirio is your best 6-hand size aggro character, and I suspect that you will be seeing a lot of this character at the webcam regional. If you are not ready, you will just get blown up early. Next up, we have, let's see, I can't really find anybody on here. Our next up for regional champions, if I can find him, is Overhaul. We got Mirio's buddy. They will always be together until something is done about the characters. Oh, look at him. He was just right over here and I was missing him. Overhaul is still very, very good. He will almost always be the best character on these 3 symbols. The evil symbol and the earth symbol are both top 3 symbols in the game right now. I think I would go evil, earth, water, death as my top 4. I think those 4 symbols have really pulled away from the others. And he's just always going to be the best character on those symbols. He's probably the best evil character, probably the best earth character, probably the best life character. And now he got a really silly attack in Rando Spirit Gun to where he can use his ignore progressive twice. I don't know how good Rando Spirit Gun is actually going to end up being, but it seems like it's going to be cracked in Overhaul. If there's any character that's going to make that attack worth it, it's going to be Overhaul. Next up, we have our world champion, Endeavor 3. He is very aggro like Mirio, but he's more like turn 4, turn 5 aggro, where he gets to turn on the +2 speed and +3 damage. There's not many characters in the game that can deal with +2, +3 on every single attack, and he's going to be grabbing his best attack from his remove from game pile, whatever he needs in this situation. Did you build into Deadlock? He'll go get Prominence Burn plus Ultra and do the Deadlock +2 speed on everything. He can go grab Twisting Azure Inferno and ignore progressive. He can go grab Hellspider, and if he cycled, everything's getting +1 speed, +1 damage. There's a lot of versatility here with this character. He just adds 5 stats for free after he mills, and then he becomes a 7-hander. He will. When he first came out and I put him in the B tier, I feel silly looking back on it with that. I think he also got a lot of support with the Trigun deck that just came out. He got Avoiding Conflict, the action to play. He can use that with like Twisting Azure Inferno. He got that one attack that says Mill 4 off the top of your deck. He got a lot of support here. He's going to be very, very good. Next up, let's jump into some Yu Yu Hakusho characters. I'm going in order of hand size, by the way, on each of these. I'll start with my 5-handers, go to my 6-handers, go to my 7-handers. So I don't have any 5-handers in my regional champions area. We got 3 more characters here. I'm going to go to Yu Yu Hakusho, and we are going to pull in younger Toguro. I don't think there's any question here. I don't think anybody's surprised. This character is nuts. Let me zoom in a little bit here. But younger Toguro, he's going to ignore progressive, build down. He can force his rival into deadlock. He plays a really nice long game. There is no maximum on his damage. So once he's at 10 foundations, he's getting +5 damage. If he's at 20 foundations, he's getting +10 damage on everything. I think he plays a really, really nice long game. I think in the early game, I'd rather be Mirio. In the mid game, I'd rather be Endeavor 3. But in the long game, I'd rather be younger Toguro. I think he can be strong early. If his rival messes up, he can definitely punish you early. All you really need is +2 or +3 damage on all of your attacks if they're all hitting. That's probably going to be good enough to win you the game. But he scales really well to where, +8, +9 damage on everything. Eventually, you can break down their wall. The death symbol has Ore Strike, Deadlock, force them to discard 3 cards. That's crazy. You get Vile Seizing, of course. Death and Evil got some of the best spam foundations. On Death, he gets access to the combo of Snack Time and Frightening Calm. Now every single one of his attacks is staying stunned 2. Eventually, you're stunned out. He's giving 8 damage on everything. Younger is so hard because it's just every turn he just keeps on coming. Like, every turn feels like an absolute battle to stay alive. And then he just comes right back and right back and right back. He just wears down your defenses. But I think he's a better long game character than Mirio. Like turn 2, turn 3, I'd rather be Mirio. After that, I'd rather be younger. I don't understand why they gave him 32 health. I don't understand that at all. Why does this character have more health than a lot of 5-handers? I don't get it. I don't get it. Next up from Yu Yu Hakusho, I'm also going to take Jin and put him up here. This one might be a little bit of a hot take. I've seen a lot of players sour on Jin recently, but there is just no way this guy's not top 5 in the game, in my opinion. Response speed, +2 or -2 speed, sometimes +3 or -3, and he gets to cancel something on a rival's attack. That will always be very, very strong. I like the void symbol on him because you draw a ton of cards. You have a lot of access to different cancels. You have access to the best flash moves. The void symbol is where I've been having the most fun. The air symbol, you get his best dunks with Falling Skies and Walk the Dog. And then on the life symbol, I think is probably where he's best. He doesn't get as good of attacks as the other symbols, but he gets Command Pigeon Flock. And Command Pigeon Flock can build in Masho Concealment. You get a lot of ways in life to give like +1 damage to things. You don't have access to as many resets as other symbols on life, but it will always be a great symbol. Until something's done with new training method, the life symbol will always be quite good. I think maybe he's best on life. If I was playing him today, I would lean void, but I've had a lot of success with the air symbol too. So he's strong on all of his symbols. He's going to be represented, and he's going to see results. Let's go to our last regional champion. We have one 7-hander who I think has separated from the rest. Let me go and find him. I really wish I put these guys in some sort of discernible order. That would have made this a lot smoother. Okay, we got him. Next up, we have Tamaki Amajiki as I think the best seven-hander in the game right now. Also benefits from Momotaro's kit and everything that can go into momentum face up. Armor the Wolf is crazy in this character. You can just from all the enhances that you're playing, make it huge. Then you can use all of your, then you can powerful 3 and make it huge. And then you can use Amajiki's, stack the damage on it and make it huge. You can make it into some massive lethal dunk 3 times over. Really, really difficult for your rival to play around. Got a ton of support. Sure, Chaos did lose its best 0 diffs with requesting assistance and release. But the Chaos symbol is still a very, very strong defensive symbol, and you get access to protecting Yukina. Now you can combine that with Incredible Display, to where you block with it, take no damage, discard a momentum, then pick it up with Incredible Display, use it again, so he gets a lot of throw hate. He can, for example, like block Muriel's lows using that combo. Chaos symbol still very strong, one of the best. I put it in like that tier 2, right below Earth, Death, and Water. I put the evil symbol right there. The Chaos symbol right there. He's probably very, very strong on Water now too. The Water symbol's probably caught up to the Chaos symbol for Amajiki. In the past, we saw Amajiki's almost purely playing Chaos. I'd be interested to see what people come up with on the Water symbol for him. But I think he's the best of the 7-handers, and we're going to be seeing a lot of them. Okay, from here, we're going to jump into our regional contenders. Let's kick it off with some 5-handers. I think we have a few that can fit into here. I will go and grab Recovery Girl. Here we go. I think Recovery Girl is a character I'm very, very high on right now. All of this damage reduction in Water is crazy. You got Toughest Punk in Junior High. You have Weapon Clash to build in. You can use resets with Broken Psyche that you can build in. You have Referee Jury with Struggling with Studies combo. I'll take it down to 4. I'll pick it up with Struggling. I'll force you to commit 1. I'll pick it up with Struggling with Studies. By the way, I'll just build in Struggling with Studies. If I use Referee Jury, I'll just use Recovery Girl's response to build in Struggling with Studies. So once I have that Referee Jury in hand, I've got the combo. I don't have to have built the Struggling beforehand. Recovery Girl also gets, on the attacks, you get Sword Get Longer, build 3 foundations. Now you're just going to destroy 2 of them to give something throw. You're going to be working with all that momentum for Broken Psyche resets. Weapon Clash, you can always flip and build in a foundation and then just blow up those foundations for throw. There's so many things going on here for Recovery Girl. The one weakness she has is that we just gave Younger Toguro a 2-check that says commit your rival's character. And I don't know how she lives through that. So it's hard to say that she's a regional champion when there's such a glaring weakness of Younger is just going to commit her down, and then there goes Grandma. Okay, another 5-hander here. I've got Byakko. This character is kind of similar to Recovery Girl in that he's just a massive, massive pain to deal with. We have 38 health, and he is applying huge pressure to your stage, forcing you to flip everything. We now have that double overhead reversal, the attack that says you have to flip a foundation as a cost to block it. That's like unblockable a good half the time in Byakko. He gets access to Tiger Scream, which is just this insane dunk move. He gets access to Thunderous Roar, where he's going to give his attack like 20 speed at some point. Almost everything's getting 5 damage. He reminds me a lot of Nomu. Although the difference is here, if you're really, really aggressive, you can kill him early. And he is a 5-hander, so if you have access to things that can basically take away one of his attacks, like if you're Kurama and you can say, let's just get rid of that attack. If you have that Cape of No Return, get rid of an attack, Genkai's Guidance, he can be kind of weak to that since he's a five-hander. There's not like just no ways to interact with this character, but he's very, very difficult, and you're going to have to do it without a stage. And after turn 2 or turn 3, when you have this entirely face-down stage, it will be very, very difficult to keep this character from killing you. You know, you either have to deal 38 early in the game, very difficult to do, or you have to manage to defend yourself somehow without your stage. Both of those things are just going to rocket this character up to regional contenders. I don't think he's quite there to regional champions. He does have some weaknesses, but he's right below. That's going to do it for our five-handers. Let's jump into our six-handers. You know the first six-hander I'm going to put here. I'm surprised I didn't muster up the courage to put him as a regional champion, but we have Hawks coming up here for regional contenders. I think last format this guy was here. I think he's dropped down just a little bit. It's not necessarily that he got worse. It's just that the format is not very nice to him right now. The format, he doesn't have a way, like he can survive against Younger for several turns, but he has a tough time dealing that 32 damage. It feels like with the Hawks Younger matchup, a lot of times it's like, okay, whew, I survived that one. All right, can I do it again? Repeat every single turn, because it's going to take you 4 or 5 turns to be able to kill Younger. And eventually, Younger just gets Hawks. That's how I feel about it. I feel like Amajiki probably just plays the long game a little bit better than Hawks. He has trouble killing people. He does get Spirit Sword Ultimate, which is like the new Recipro Burst. You can use it on the good symbol, like if you're worried about like Barrier Shield, Runaway, or things like that. You can use like BMI Buster early so that you have it online to cancel an action, and then play your Spirit Sword Ultimate and make it huge. On the good symbol, you're getting like Dimension Sword to grab all of his kit as weapons. And Dimension Sword is incredible when it becomes a 7 mid 4 that grabs a weapon into your hand. If they're not going to be blocking it, you can swap it with Hawks and make it a 7 damage move. On the order symbol, he got Walk the Dog, he got Ice Sword Execution, he got Mop Strike. There's a lot of things he got this set. He just struggles to kill people. And that's going to keep him down here. Like in the last format, I thought he had a pretty good matchup into Endeavor 3. All you had to survive was 1 turn. You know, if I can survive the massive kill turn, then Endeavor 3 either mills out, or he's committed out so much that I can win on the backswing. Or I can just kill him before he gets to his massive kill turn. So the Endeavor 3 matchup didn't feel terrible. It felt like it was like 60% Hawks, 40% Endeavor 3. At least in my personal testing of him before the HLC. The Mirio matchup felt really good in my testing before the HLC. Overhaul felt good. Overhaul's not changing his speed of his attacks in any sort of way. Hamajiki did not feel so great. But here, Younger, I think Younger has the edge in the Younger Hawks matchup. Okay, our next six-hander in our regional contenders list, we have Nicholas D. Wolfwood. Okay, Nicholas, show yourself to me. I am not finding you. Here we are. Next up, we have Nicholas D. Wolfwood. He turns on Twisting Azure for free, giving +3 damage. He's going to heal himself. He's basically an 8-hander with 34 health. If you can't keep him off of his momentum, then he'll be getting to 8 cards and healing 2 every single turn. Turns on Twisting Azure for free. On the death symbol, what better snack time character than Wolfwood, who is an 8-hander? He does not care about discarding his hand to get stun 1. Pretty soon that Frightening Calm snack time combo, everything's getting stun 2. He got access to echo attacks that are free with Double Fists and Trace Eyes. Wolfwood is going to be around, very strong, but I think he's outclassed a little bit. He's outclassed early by Mirio. He's outclassed a little bit by Endeavor 3 and Younger Toguro in those mid to late games. I'd rather be those characters. So he's right here below. I think he's just about there, and his symbols, Death and Fire, got very, very good this set. Let's go up to another Yu Yu Hakusho character, a 7-hander. I think we have Kurama here in the regional contenders. This character just being able to say no to an attack, very strong. Every attack is basically getting +1 speed from the clogging the card pool, and that stacks up. He's like my boy Rinku, who I got to reveal, except much stronger with being able to say no to an attack. That gives him a pretty strong matchup. I feel like into a character like Byakko, he can play control pretty well, especially on the water symbol, in my opinion. I think the water symbol is probably his best symbol. And then he can work his way up to some massive attack, and you can't block it because you have your card pool clogged. The problem with Kurama and his main weakness is that there's not a lot of blocking going on. If people were having to block, he would be good in this format, but nobody's blocking right now. We're all using damage resets, and we're all using hand traps and things like that. And so the clogging the card pool doesn't really matter in a lot of matchups. And I think that's holding him back just a little bit because I wanted him to be up here. But unfortunately, I think right now he is simply a contender. Okay, we have a lot of 7-handers in this regional contenders box, by the way. Let me just go start grabbing them. Shigaraki 3. All of these symbols got cool new tools this set. Death, we get all of these awesome spam foundations. Again, he's going to be a good snack time character since he has so many cards in his hand. Order, you get Walk the Dog, Shinobi Prodigy, Idun Box. You're getting a lot of things there. He's going to be very good. I think he's one of the best evil characters. I think Overhaul and Younger are probably the best. And then you have Shigaraki right behind them. And then speaking of the evil symbol, we have Elder Toguro. I was too low on this character when he first came out, and I've since come around. I've not come around so much to where I think he's here. But with things like Barrier Shield, Unmatched Quickness, Quick to Act, this guy gets really scary on the evil symbol. He can basically just say 0 speed, swap it, 0 damage. My next attack is still going to get Breaker 2 from the Barrier Shield. I can play anything I want from my discard pile that I need for this situation. He can use once he's at 10 or less health, he's getting to give all this minus speed and plus speed from Unmatched Quickness, and then he can swap those around as he needs. I think he's much better than I gave him credit for when he first came out. I should have known as Hawks, just having one swap a turn is very strong. This guy gets unlimited swaps. And then our last 7-hander of the bunch here, I have Void Edge Shot. I don't think Edge Shot got much worse. Got a new interesting 6 check and the 3 Eyes of Hiei to build on the Void symbol off of Titan Cliff. But I think this character, very strong. Speaking of Elder Toguro, this character is giving +1 speed and +1 damage onto things. And that's going to be really nice in a format where we have all these elders swapping stats to have a character who gives stats in congruence with each other. +5/+5. There's not much elders doing about that. Unless he has just tons of speed control in his stage. It's going to be very hard for Elder to overcome the Edge Shot matchup. I think Edge Shot's positioned pretty well. Maybe the best of these 7-handers to be aggro early on. And aggro is, to me, always going to be best on a 7-hander. They just see more cards. Although I think right now the best aggro character in the game is Mirio. That is going to do it for my regional champions and regional contenders. These are the 14 characters that I think have a realistic shot at winning the webcam regional March 16th and 17th. From here, I'm going to go pretty quickly because I do want to talk about the Critical Role decks and those grades before I end today. So I won't be talking too much about my other characters, but I'll just start throwing them up here and maybe giving a sentence or two about each of them. Let's go 5-handers first here in terms of frequent top cut. I think Kuwabara is going to be a thing. I think Recovery Girl is just better. Recovery Girl is just doing Kuwabara's thing better at the moment. And so Kuwabara is down here, but I think he's definitely going to see a lot of play, and he really builds up this wall, and if you can't deal with it, he just murders you. I think Mimic will always be up here. We have Toga, who got a lot better this set. There's still, at least, Toga just doesn't seem to play that much defense. And I think for that reason, I would much rather be Mirio, where he gets just defense on face. And then he can aggro just as well as Toga. But I really like Toga. And I think a lot of people will be playing Walk the Dog Toga. Let's see. Another character, Bakugo 4, I think got a lot better this set. We're talking about all of this damage reduction. Bakugo 4 just says, hey, your weapon clash is a blank foundation. Kuwabara, I just murder you. Like, your character says commit, give my attacks +2 damage. That's awesome. He also got Genkai's Guidance to help him out on his discard strategy. And then Frightening Calm and Snack Time together. I've already talked a lot about that combo because I think it's such a good combo on the Death Symbol. And Wolfwood and Shigaraki can really take advantage of it with their card advantage. But Bakugo gets Explosive Rebuke. Okay, if you have one Snack Time, one Frightening Calm on your stage, you say give it stun 1, give it stun 1. Now it has 3 instances of stun 1. You flip a foundation, you say all these are now stun 2. That's stun 6. If you had 3 of those on stage, that's stun 8. Not many people are living an opening attack that says stun 8. And then you can find some way between Suited Up and his other attack, the 4-def attack that does the thing, to give all of your attacks +2 damage. So he gets 2 ways to kill you now. In the past, it was all through this discard strategy, and if you could play around the discard strategy, you could overcome it. Now he's got this stun strategy, this like stun 8, stun 10 possibility of an opener. So he gets 2 different ways to kill you. He also can seal a lot of foundations now. He got that 1 diff that when it's destroyed, he gets to seal something. You get Failed Role Model, so you can seal the ways that your rival can draw cards and just really press card advantage over them. Next up, thinking about the Jet Burn silly monkey characters that we got, all these 6-hand size aggro. We have Shoto 4. If I can find him. I feel like I'm playing like Blue's Clues right now. Like, everybody in the chat's like, he's there, top left, top left. And I'm like, I don't know where he is. Okay, Shoto 4. Shoto 4 comes up here, got a lot of tools. He got a few different tools in Yu Yu Hakusho to seal things. Got that like Power of Love, Kuwabara Foundation. He will just seal your entire stage and kill you. I think he was really good last set and underplayed. The only person that we saw really do well with Shoto was Andrew Porat at the winter webcam events. But I think he was actually up here last set. He was in one of these. And I still think he's really good. Let's see. We're picking up the pace here. I'll put Mount Lady. I think Mount Lady is just a cut below Edge Shot. If I was playing a lurker, I'd rather just be Edge Shot. I think we have Vash the Stampede here. 8-hander that gives 2 speed to everything. It's hard to not like that. I think we have Spike coming to the frequent top cut list. I think that I just won a local qualifier with Water Spike, and I think that deck is pretty real. It plays the damage reduction and damage resets really, really well. He gets to draw a lot of cards. Eventually, he's giving like +4/+4. It's nice to give speed and damage in congruence with each other, similar to Edge Shot. Very, very good. I think 7-hand size Karasu. I think aggro 7-hand size is probably still played best by Edge Shot, but Karasu is not far behind. This character is going to murder people. My brother's been playing a lot of Karasu, might be playing him in the Wish tournament or the webcam regional, but he's going to murder people. The problem is he's very much a glass cannon. I think he's like the new Tokoyami 1, where he can just murder you or he can just roll over and die pretty quick. And then another 7-hander here going the complete opposite direction. A very control character. I have Jiro 2. If I can find Jiro 2, I'll put her up there. And that's going to do it for your frequent top cut list. So these are characters I could see top cutting pretty frequently, but I would be mildly surprised if they actually won the event. I think they're just outclassed in some way or in some fashion by these 14 characters. And then the occasional top cut and local champions, there's not really a big difference between these tiers. I think you can kind of take your pick of the remaining characters just kind of on your personal opinions and biases. But I'll start off with Fourth Kind is probably never really a bad choice. Speaking of which, we also have like Mineta 2. Got a lot of things this set. We have another 5-hander. Oh, I'll put Midoriya up here too. I think Rando Spirit Gun is funniest in Overhaul, but it's probably right up there too with Deku 5. I think Deku 4 also belongs in this tier, but I can't find him. So I will move on until he reveals himself to be. Here he is. I think we can put Deku 4 here. These are the 5-handers that belong in this tier. I think Coda, the Allied Life package, got a lot better. We already saw Mike Hardiman doing really well with Coda. And so it's not going to surprise me if Coda top cuts. It really won't. It will shock me if Coda wins. But to say Coda top cutted with all the package, with all the cool new tools that the Life Ally package got, it would not shock me. Rappa plays Double Fist of the Mortal Flame really well. So Rappa will be up next. I've got Ochako 4. Got some support with the Battle Aura release. Is very nice in this character. Asui 3 is just one of those characters that's never bad, but never quite good enough to be like up here. Let's see. Genkai, I think, belongs in this occasional top cut. Could do some damage. Damage reduction on face. Can give lots of damage to throws. Gets to have destined for mainstream success on face. Speaking of 7-handers, aggro 7-handers, I think that Toga 1 is interesting with like Hiei's SR that says this gets more stun for losing a health. So Hiei's SR says stun 2 on it now. And then if Toga can find some other way to lose a health, then that's stun 3 as an opener. That's going to be really good when you get to see 9 cards a turn. The Alleyway Ambush Gamer Toga is probably still very alive. You now get like 45% power for high 4 draw a card that Toga can work with. I think I'm not ready to give up on Nejire yet. If I can find Nejire. And finally, 7-hander, the ultimate aggro 7-hander, Dabi 2, I think got a lot of support this set. And that on the fire symbol, he has access to Trace Eyes and Double Fist, 2 free echo attacks. He's going to be adding 3 damage onto him. Really good Sugar Rush power up character. I think there's a lot of different directions you could take Dabi 2 right now. Somebody is going to crack that code. Very, very good. Maybe he's the best aggro character to take advantage of the free echo attacks. It's either him or Karasu. And then the local champions, yeah, Muscular just did really well at a webcam event. If you go and look at that Muscular deck, it had hardly any set 1 cards in it. I think it was like a couple copies of Hardened Jab. Yeah, there was like less than 10 set 1 cards in it. I think Earth got a lot better of a damage reduction package. So this might be a little silly that I put Muscular in my top 50, but he's going to do that really well. He's kind of similar to Kuwabara and Recovery Girl. I just think that both of these characters are doing it better than him. If I'm going to play that DR package, I'd just rather be Kuwabara or Recovery Girl if I'm going to do it in 5-hander. I think Bowie is definitely up here in the top 50. Very good and sealed, but I underestimated him. And he gets Spaceland and Cheerleader on the water symbol. On the Earth symbol, he can use like BMI Buster to cancel your action that you thought you were going to reset. His +10/+10 move He's going to use BMI Buster and say no thanks, and can definitely just absolutely annihilate you. Mina 2, I think, belongs in the top 50. This character doesn't get any defense on face beyond face downs, not counting towards progressive. Does benefit from trace eyes, flipping face down to where it doesn't count towards progressive. If it deals damage, they're going to take all the damage for the face downs. I think she's scary, but I think people putting Mina 2 up here are just out of their minds. She belongs down here. She's in the conversation now, which is better than like Mina 2 could ever say in the past. Botan life drain, surely. No, but I will say that Botan was who I played in the finals for my local qualifier this weekend. And Bat Strike in that character actually goes kind of hard. It was like, even if I take this thing down to 1 damage, I'm going to take 7 if I let it deal. I only won my game 1 because I used Spike's ability to say if it deals damage, I draw. I was holding on to 2 high blocks, and I figured he was going to play another Bat Strike, and I drew the low block. and then I got to block the other Bat Strike and win the game. So I drew the low block right when I needed it. Got very lucky. This might shock some people, but it's not going to shock Brett if Brett is in chat. But I have Dobby 1 in my top 50. I think Hate Fish is really, really funny. That you can say double the next damage bonus that this attack gets. Then you're going to give it 8 damage and throw. That's going to become 16 damage and throw. Then you plus the 3 plus the 1 from the one before. So like all in all, Hate Fish I think becomes a 27 damage throw just on face with Dobby. That yeah, not many characters can deal with that. Eraserhead 2 feels like he's always right here. He's good. He's done some interesting things in the past. All Might 7 got a lot of support if I can find All Might 7. The ranged and weapon package definitely got a lot better. He got the Echo attack, Yusuke's Echo attack, 4 mid 6. It's going to be a 6 mid 6 in All Might 7. He gets to use it twice. If it deals at any point, he's going to draw 2 cards. On Chaos, he gets Walk the Dog. You get Ice Sword Execution on Chaos. He definitely got a lot better. I think that Dataro Sakaki also comes up in here. One of the biggest reasons that Sakaki was held back in the past was simply because of It Can't Be Fixed. Because It Can't Be Fixed responds to character effects and non-character effects. But with that 0 diff finally gone from the game, I think Sakaki can easily say that he's top 50. I finally found him. Ryukyu, boring, but still going to aggro a lot of people. All for One is completely outclassed by Younger, but that doesn't mean he's not somewhat good. Inasa comes up into here. I think Suzuki from this set is here. In terms of 7-handers, I've got Faye. When these characters were first released, I thought Faye was going to be like up here somewhere. And then after actually playing against Faye and playing a few different variants of Faye, I think that Nejire is just better in every way. That might be kind of a hot take, but Nejire is just straight up better than Faye. Yusuke comes into here. The spirit package just needed to be a little bit better for this guy to come up a little higher. And then I think we got Shishi Wakamaru at the last of our local champions. And that is going to do it. This is my top 50. These are the characters I suspect could take down a regional. These ones, I wouldn't be surprised if they topped. I would be surprised if they actually won. And then right here are like my best of the rest category. Like, of the rest of the characters, which do I think are most likely to like win your local qualifier event where everybody is still trying, but no, it's not like everybody's actually playing the most meta, the most sweaty of the sweaty decks. People are still trying to have fun. So like, wouldn't be shocked if these won your local qualifier, or some build of them did pretty well. If you're a fan of these characters, I'm sorry, but I think your character is just outclassed. Like, I would like Stain 2 to be better. Maybe something there is there with like Endeavor 1. May probably could. Best Genus did get a lot better. Like these characters maybe got a little bit better. Um, I wanted to put Hiei in my top 50. I just don't think he's there. Sorry to Rinku and Cammy. I wish they were in the top 50. I really do. But this is your top 50 with my top 6 characters being Amajiki, Jin, Younger Toguro, Endeavor 3, Overhaul, and Mirio. If you're planning to truly win in Las Vegas or at the Webcam Regional, you have to practice your matchups against these 6 characters. If there's any of these matchups that you feel like you don't match up well against, you have to have sideboard answers. I don't think with these 6 characters you can just say, oh, I just plan not to play them. You can do that for these ones, right? Say you have a horrible Elder match or Shigaraki, like you could just say, well, maybe I'll just dodge him. But for these top 6, you've got to have answers in your sideboard to at least give yourself a chance to win the game. These are the ones that you're going to have to be prepared for. So what are your thoughts about this list? Let me know in the comments below. On all of these tier lists, I always get people saying, what are you doing? This character is so underrated, or you are way too high on this character. And I honestly really, really like those kind of comments. I love a good debate. So let me know what you think in the comments below. That is going to do it for me. Okay, that was my top 50 characters. Let's see how much time we got. It is 6:26. I was going to do a rankings grade each of the Critical Role decks. Give me one sec. I can hear that my son is at the door. And then I'm going to come back. I think I could get all of these rankings done in 15 minutes. If anything, the time pressure will actually help me because I'm always talking too much. So give me 1 minute. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I had a 3-year-old wake up and was very scared, probably because her maniac father is in the side room yelling about cards at 6 in the morning. But, okay, I put her back to bed. All right, we have 17 minutes here to talk about some Critical Role. Okay, before I jump into this, I'm just gonna read whatever the chat said about the other stuff. Jin Flash is a pain. Toga not in the regional contender for shame. Well, she's right below. Also going to be tough for Edge Shot to handle. Other Toguro dropping bomb after bomb after bomb. Yeah, that's true. Very end top right. Oh, people yelling at me as to where things are. I wonder who. Botan Life Turn Shirley. One love, one low for 23. Yeah. I think Dobby's real. I think Hatefish Dobby, maybe it's kind of a meme, but it's only a meme until it happens to you. And then you're a believer. and then you're a believer. Okay, let's talk about these Critical Role decks. Are they worth the cost? And let's talk about each of the cards, and I will give a snap grade as to how good I think it will be in competitive play for the standard format in Universus. Before we jump into that, though, let's just talk about the decks as a whole. The out of the box experience, I think, is an A. You're going to have a lot of fun. If you've never played Universus before, you buy the box, you pull out the deck, you buy the Vox Machina deck, your friend buys the Mighty Nine deck, you play against each other. I think you're going to have a great time. The cards are really unique. I think they really pop. They have a lot of flavor to them. You're going to have a fun time with your friend if you're new to Universus and you just buy these off the shelf. Also, if you go to your local game store, they're going to have these like D&D like experiences where you're fighting the Briarwoods as a team and you're rolling a lot of dice. I haven't played a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, but it feels very D&D-esque. Going to be a fun time. So out of the box experience is an easy A. Card art and collectability. I think the art of these cards is the best ever that Universus has had. These are the best looking cards in Universus, period. Full stop. Collectability with the alternate arts and the alternate art characters being extremely rare. If you're new to Universus, the alternate arts in these challenger decks are like, at least in the past, they have been chrome rare status. There are hardly any of these in the wild. So if you pull a alternate art character, that is going to be a money card. A plus for collectability, card art. These cards just have the it factor. I don't know if it's like the unique designs on the cards or if it's the art popping, the way the card templates are. I think for this are pretty much the best in Universus, but the cards have the it factor. They just really pop. Character-wise, all of them are interesting. They all look fun to play. Some of them are better than others, but each of them is going to be quite good. That's an A. Competitive viability, that's a C. Sorry. It is what it is. If you are not a fan of Critical Role, if you are just a competitive Universus player, you can skip these decks. So if you love Critical Role, these are very much worth the $30, $35 that they sell for at your local game store. They're around that price point, somewhere in between $30 and $40 per deck. If you're into Critical Role, very worth it. If you're new to the game, very worth it just to play out of the box. If you're a collector, it's worth it to go and grab. If you enjoy the characters, it's worth it. If you're not going to be playing these characters and you're just looking for cards to improve your current competitive decks in standard play, you can skip it. You can buy singles. The competitive viability to me is, it's a C. There's a few cards in here. Don't get me wrong. There's a few cards in here that will see competitive play, but there are literally a few cards. Okay, our first character, we have Vax'ildan. I'm probably butchering this pronunciation, Critical Role fans. I'm sorry. Vax'ildan, Cunning Thief, 7 hand size, 22 health. Your ranged or weapon attack gets 3 speed. It gets -1 speed for each other attack in your card pool. So the fewer attacks in your card pool, the better this enhance is. If you're using something like Dual Needle Lunge that clears itself to momentum, then that could get 3 speed, and then your next attack could get 3 speed too. So there's ways to get that like off twice. You also get this form, commit 1 foundation. Your rival loses 1 health for each attack in your card pool. Clear 1 card from your card pool. That means you discard a card from your card pool. So he can either use this to deal a lot of damage to his rival. This is very hard for his rival to interact with. Basically, if you're playing Vax and your rival goes to like 5 or 6 health, they're probably just dead. Because you can get 4 attacks in your card pool and say, yeah, you lose 4. This can kill your rival. And so you can also use this early on in your attack string to clear a card from your card pool, which is going to help you play more attacks with less progressive difficulty. And more attacks, fewer attacks in your card pool means that your speed enhance gets better. So with Vax, there's a lot of skill needed with this character, I think. You need to decide, are you going for that speed and to clear your card pool, or are you going to make sure that you burn your rival for the most? Either way, He has more health than a normal 7-hander. A typical 7-hander would be at like 20 health or 19 health. He has 22. He doesn't get a lot of defense on face, so he's going to need that extra health. I put him in the A- category. He is very open-ended. He can really benefit from a lot of other cards. And then we get this alternate art version of him. Like I said, this is going to be a money card. If you pull this, you just made a lot of money. And then we get Vex'ahlia, Resourceful Hunter. This character is the one that I'm excited to play. I think in terms of the out-of-the-box experience, I think Vex is probably better than Vax. I have her as a B, though, because she's more closed in terms of deck building possibilities. She's more like dependent on the cards within this deck, whereas Vax can take advantage of all of the other cards. But Vex is very dependent on Mark Your Prey and very dependent on attacks that are both ranged and weapon, not or. Right. Vax can be played with ranged or weapon attack. Clear one card from your card pool. Whereas Vex has to have a ranged and weapon attack. That's a lot higher of a bar. But Vex gets to get Mark Your Prey at the beginning of every turn from her discard pile, starts the game with a copy of Mark Your Prey in her discard pile, and then her first copy of it is going to ignore progressive difficulty. So we can't really talk about Vex without talking about Mark Your Prey, because she gets it for free, and then when she plays it, it doesn't count towards progressive. So let's go and read Mark Your Prey before we jump into Vex. While this card is in your card pool, your ranged and or weapon attacks get +1 speed. And then you get this enhanced in your card pool, meaning you can play this on every single attack. Mill 1, if you milled an attack this way, your ranged attack is +3 damage. Otherwise, it gets +1 damage. Basically, as long as this action is in your card pool, all of your attacks are going to get +1/+1 minimum. Sometimes they'll get +1/+3. And then you have to have some way to get this out of your hand and into your card pool. That's why you have this top enhance, your rival flips 1 foundation. That's a nothing burger. Don't get me wrong, it's something, but you're playing it for the bottom enhance and for the static. All of your attacks get +1/+1. So basically, Vex'ahlia is a character that says all of your attacks get +1/+1. And then she gets enhanced commit. Your next ranged weapon attack you try to play ignores progressive difficulty and gets 3 damage. So once a turn, her card's going to get at least +1/+4 and ignore progressive. That is really, really powerful. Out of the box, I think this is the better character. In standard competitive play, I think Vax is a little better. He's a little more open-ended. Let's jump into Mark Your Prey. I think in Vax and all others, this is like a C tier card. My tiers being A tier is going to see competitive play frequently. B tier means that depending on the situation, it could see competitive play. It's just a little more niche, whereas A tier is just going to be everywhere or extremely impactful. And then C tier is like, it's not going to see competitive play. If you're Vex, you love Mark Your Prey, but even then, I don't think you're playing 4X. I think you're maybe playing 1 or 2. You could get away probably just with playing 1 Mark Your Prey in Vex'ahlia. Maybe you play 2. But I think that's really all you need. And then for everybody else, it's kind of C tier. You're talking about a 3-diff action that counts towards progressive to get +1/+1. This is not nearly as good as Summon Dark Shadow, and Summon Dark Shadow didn't really see a lot of play outside of Tokoyami. Did see some niche play with like Midnight, but not too much more than that. Next up, we have Trinket. I think in Vex'ahlia, this is probably a B+, and everybody else is like a B-. You get to add this card to your card pool. This attack has +4 damage. And then bottom enhance, add this card to your card pool. This attack gets -4 damage. If your character is Vex'ahlia, add it back to your hand after it resolves. This would be crazy if it built back into your stage if you were Vex'ahlia, but you add it back to your hand. So you don't, basically you just get a low block, right? I'll -4 damage this, I'll get a low block into my hand. Or maybe I could just keep this and then build it again next turn. But most of the time, you probably don't want to be, you'd probably be reviewing it so that you could have a chance to draw into some more attacks here. This is one of those cards I'm going to have to play with to see how I like it. You can throw it in on offense on your last attack to get that 4 damage if you weren't planning to build, or if this is the attack that you need for lethal. -4 damage, that's kind of like a free half block. It's not bad, but it's B-. Arrows and daggers. This, I think, is terrible in every character not named Vax or Vex. But in Vax or Vex, it's pretty darn good. It's a 4 low 5 diff. Discard one card. If you have 3 or more attacks in your card pool, destroy one rival foundation. So discard one card to destroy selectively a rival foundation. Your rival does not get to pick. You get to pick. That's very strong. But you do have to have 2 other attacks in your card pool, meaning that you're playing this on a 7. That's going to be difficult. Now, Vax can get around this a little bit with Dagger, 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 because this would get -1 difficulty, so you're playing it on a 6. Vex, of course, can get around it quite easily because she can commit its a ranged weapon and say ignore progressive. So both of these characters have ways to where it's not feeling too bad to play it as your 3rd or 4th attack in your attack string. And then Vax gets this if it deals damage, your next weapon attack you try to play ignores progressive. So if you had like Dagger, Dagger, Dagger in your card pool, you play this as your 3rd attack, it's on a 6 instead of on a 7. And if it deals, you're ignoring progressive on your next one. That's pretty cool. With Vexalia, this attack is getting +1 speed for each card in your card pool. So she can commit and say this ignores progressive. It's already getting +1/+1 from Mark Your Prey, so that's a 5 low 6. It's getting the +3 from Vex, that's a 5 low 9. Now it's getting +1 speed for all of your other attacks. Let's say you have 3 total. So now it's a 8 low for 9 selective destruction. That's pretty darn good. You know, Vexalia probably loves this attack. But if you're not Vax or Vex, this is terrible. Dagger, Dagger, Dagger. While this card is in your card pool, each of your attacks with Dagger or daggers in its name gets -1 difficulty. So the strength of this card depends on the strength of the Dagger package. If the Dagger attack package is really, really good, then this attack is also going to be good because you're basically not counting towards progressive if you're playing all daggers, and you can spend a momentum to add a card with Dagger or daggers in its name, not named Dagger, 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 to your hand. Otherwise, you could just go on this like Dagger, 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 kind of like string as long as you have momentum. But they're saying that you have to grab something else to your hand. It's a 3 high 6. It's very, very understated for a 6 diff attack. It could have probably had some more stats here. It doesn't count towards progressive. That's why it's a 6 difficulty attack. If you're playing all daggers, those get -1 difficulty, basically saying that this card doesn't count towards progressive in your card pool. But it's really dependent on the dagger attack package, and I don't think that the daggers are that good. So in everybody else, I'm giving it a C. In Vax, I'll give it a B+, because it sets up arrows and daggers pretty well. But in everybody else, the dagger attack package needed to have been stronger for this card to be good. Unlike the death symbol, you get like deception dagger and finger daggers, both pretty good, but not quite good enough. Next up, we have Vax's 4 diff attack, 4 mid 4. If this deals damage, destroy 1 committed foundation. Okay, a 4 mid 4 on a 4 diff that doesn't do anything unless an if statement comes true. And then even then you're destroying a committed rival foundation. This is C tier to me. Flaming Arrow, we have basically a blank 5 mid 3 on a 4 diff with powerful 3. It is a nice 1 high block, but once again, it's unless you're dumping momentum into this, it is a nice momentum outlet because it's pretty fast at 5 speed. It can be played late in an attack string since it's a 4 difficulty attack. But I'm talking in like standard competitive play as a whole. This is not going to be nearly the strength to play in a legitimate competitive deck. Piercing Dagger Strike is the worst of this bunch. 3 mid 5 stun 1, 2 mid block. What are we doing here? These 3 attacks, like, come on. Okay, Storm of Arrows, 5 diff, 4 high 5, Echo Attack, ranged weapon spell. You may spend ranged weapon attacks from your card pool as though they were momentum to pay for this attack's Echo ability. Okay, that's the only thing on this card, by the way. Echo is a keyword that says after this attack resolves, you can spend a momentum to play it again. So this attack is saying instead of spending a momentum to play it again, you can spend a card from your card pool. Basically, you can clear a card from your card pool, making your progressive difficulty better for future attacks. Or for like Vax, that means that you can get more speed on your attacks with his top enhance. For Vexalia, you can play this late in an attack string and then clear a card from your card pool with it to pay for the echo, right? You can say that this ignores progressive, play it on a 5, and then clear your card pool of an attack to play for the echo. That seems very, very nice. For all other characters, it's a B+. Why is it so high, even though ranged and weapons, there's not a lot of them? I guess you get Walk the Dog on air. That's probably the best one that you can be spending to pay for this echo. It can spend itself. If this is your opening attack, you'll say, I'll spend this to pay for its echo. Oh, there's no attack, it's aborted. Basically, it's a 5 difficulty attack, 4 high 5 that self-clears itself from the card pool and everybody else. It's like Crow and Frog, right? 5 diff, 4 high 5, 2 mid block, doesn't count towards progressive. That's basically what Storm of Arrows is as an opener. In other characters, there will always be a place for that. I'm thinking also of Jester. We'll see that in the Mighty 9 deck, that she can add spell attacks to her hand. So she could play Storm of Arrows, spend Storm of Arrows, discard momentum, grab Storm of Arrows, play Storm of Arrows, spend Storm of Arrows, discard momentum, grab Storm of Arrows, and just go on like this little loop thing here, since this is a spell attack. So other characters will benefit from just a attack that self-clears itself out of the card pool. There's something here, but it's not A tier. There's probably better things to be doing, but okay. 5 difficulty, 4 low 5. After this card leaves your card pool, your rival loses 1 health. That's understated for a 5 diff, and to have such a weak ability, you have to be having a way to clear it from the card pool, and then just losing 1. That just takes its stats. If you add in that 1 stat, like that takes its stats back to just like barely playable, and there's nothing else going on here. It's another C tier. You can see what I was saying about competitive viability on these decks being C tier. Like a lot of these attacks just aren't doing anything. Dagger, Dagger, Dagger is good, but it's only working with this Dagger attack package. Arrows and Daggers is good if you're Vax or Vex. And then Storm of Arrows is really good if you're Vax or Vex, but this is the attack that's probably most playable by other characters. Jumping into the foundations, I'm going to pick up the pace here. A Mother's Embrace, flip after a card leaves your card pool, ready this card. A 3 low block, 1 diff spam foundation that readies itself is never going to be bad, but it's also never going to be good, B-. Trinket for Vax, this is a way we can build Trinket by removing it and spending a momentum. But again, Trinket would have to be a little bit better for this to truly be good. So in everybody else, I'm going to put the C tier for Vex. I'll give it just I'll say B-, because this flip for +2 damage or +3 if you have an ally card in your stage. If you're playing a lot of ally foundations, flip for +3 damage on a 2 diff isn't too bad. Clasp Membership, 0 difficulty, 3 high block. Flip after you partially block an attack, gain 2 health. I really like this. You know, if you ever have to half block something, just flip this to gain 2. That's really good on a 0 diff, B+. Dragon Lore Expert, commit. This attack gets -2 speed. If it has the death or fire symbol, it gets -1 damage. Sorry guys, give me just 1 second. All right, sometimes my voice just gives out on me. I might not be able to do the Mighty 9 deck today. Maybe I'll do that on Thursday, and then I'll just kind of splice them together, because I don't think I can talk anymore this morning. I think I have reached that point to where I can't talk. Let's see if I can go on. Crone Frog at home. Yeah, there's something there. Man. Okay, I'll finish this one out, and then I'll do Mighty 9 tomorrow, and I'll just splice them together when I actually make it into a YouTube video. Dragon Lore Expert, spam foundation that commits for -2 speed. That's always going to be at least B tier. It's not doing much else than that. Maybe it's -1 damage. It's a 3 mid block. I'll put it B-. Elvish Tutoring. Everybody else is C- because it's Vox Machina only. Flip, commit, search your deck for an attack, reveal it, shuffle your deck, then put it on top of your deck. So you have to have a way to draw it in order for this to really be doing something. Otherwise, you just stack your deck with an attack. So you've got to draw it. There's something there for Vax or Vex, like C+ tier. but not great. Flirting and Flattery, 1 diff, 3 high block, flip. After your end phase begins, draw 1 card. If you've played 1 or more attacks this turn, discard 1 card. Basically, it's a flip to draw if you just had a build turn. That's interesting. There's something there. But most of the time, if I am playing a spam foundation that flips to draw, I want it to be versatile and usable at any time. It's interesting to be able to use this on a build turn when you typically can't use your foundations as enhances, but not quite there, probably B-. Prank War, destroy after your rival flips a foundation as a cost, destroy it. Basically, you're destroying your 2 diff foundation for your rival to destroy their face down foundation. This is a 3 mid block. It's nice that it checks a 6. It's not getting it into the B tier, C+. Shameless Haggler. This is the most fun card in this deck for me. 2 diff, 2 low block, flip, discard 1 card, draw 1 card and gain 2 health. Then your rival may draw 1 card and gain 2 health. If they do, draw 1 card and gain 2 health. So there's a potential that you flip, discard a card, draw 2 and gain 4. Yeah, my throat is not working with me right now. Oh well, I'm gonna maybe just pick this up next time because I'm struggling to talk. But I'll splice it in next time. I'll start at Twins Bond and talk about Venture Forth. Ultimately, I think there's 0 A tier cards in this deck. Man, I really can't talk right now. 9 B tier, 10 C tier. That is going to do it for me. I did my top 50 cards. Next time, I'll talk about the Mighty 9 deck. But ultimately, I think these are worth the cost. But if you're just looking for competitive cards, you can probably skip these decks. And then this was my top 50 if you missed it. These were my top 14. All right, guys, I'm going to go take it easy and drink some water. I'll see you guys next time on Thursday. Don't miss it.